Power BI query editor. In lab number 2, we are discussing the Power BI query editor. In the previous recording, what we did how to create the new columns, merging two or more columns, keeping rows and removing rows, and how can we filter the rows using the query editor filter options. We can change the text in a column in uppercase or lowercase letter or with a mixed case letter. How can we add the prefixes and suffix in the text column? This was the discussion in the last video. Our discussion today is about how to calculate the numbers. Suppose a column is given to you and we want to calculate all the entries into that column. That can be done in the Power BI query editor. How can isolate the month, year, and date from the date column? If some of the numbers are blank in a column, then fill down and fill up. These are the two options that can be done in Power BI query editor. We can also extract some of the part of a column and store them in a new column. We can add conditional column which based on the previously available column into the data sheet. How can we merge the two tables, and how can we use the aggregation procedure during the merging of the two column? And lastly, we will demonstrate how to unpivot and pivot data using Microsoft Power BI query editor. Lastly, in this recording, we will create the data model using uh, relationships. How can we create the relationships among the table? So this is the agenda of today's video. And we are going to start by calculating the numbers in Microsoft Power BI desktop. To demonstrate how to calculate the new numbers into the column, we have to switch to the Microsoft Power BI query editor. This is the data view of Microsoft Power BI, in which the file client's data XLS is open. And we switch to the Microsoft Power BI query editor. We can switch to the Power BI query editor by clicking on the transform data button. So we have to click on the transform data button. A new window is opened. In this new window, we can edit any uh, column with the help of Microsoft Power BI query options. When I open the Power BI chapter 7 car sales data, actually the car sales file is not stored in C column, it is stored in F column. So we have to change the setting to click the edit setting button and click the browse button. Then click on the car sales file and open. Click OK. Now we have the data in the Microsoft Power BI query editor. Now click the sales price column because we want to change the content of the sale price because the sale price is increased. How much the sale price is increased? It is increased by 1.1. So we want to multiply the column, all entries into the column of sales price by 1.1. So we have to click on the transform button, and then in the standard option, we have some basic operators: multiply, add, subtract, divide, integer divide, modulo, percentage, percent of. So these are the different options available in standard options. Click multiply. Multiply by what? I want to multiply the sale price by 1.1. If we want to multiply the sale price by 1.1, then okay. So you can see that each entries are multiplied by 1.1 and the new entries you can see here. So this is the option we can use for changing the content of the column. If the sale price is increased by number, so you can multiply it. If the sale price is decreased by some number, you can also have multiplied by a smaller number than 1. In the same way, you can add or subtract any value into any numeric field. This can be reverted by just deleting the multiplied column option in the applied steps. So if I remove that, so you can see that the actual number, what was the actual number here is right now it is 104,500. If I remove that, so you can see that it was actually 95000. So this is the option of changing the content of a column with the help of query editor. Another option that we want to enforce is to extract the year from any date column or month or anything. So suppose we want to click on invoice date column. In the invoice date column, in the transform button, then click on date button. This is, and we want to have, first option is age option. Age option is what return the distance or the difference between the two dates. What date right now we have and what is the date entered into the column, the difference is computed so that we have a age of the invoice date. The second option is the date only. If we click on the date only option, then time is removed from that. If we want to extract the year, the first option is the year, then the start of the year, then the end of the year. Start of the year means each date will be automatically shifted to the first date of that year. Suppose the first entry is in 10th April 2012. It will be switched to the January 1, 2012. So all dates will be transformed to the start of the year. All date will be transformed to the end of the year. But I want to extract the year. The first entry in which the year is 2012. So you can see that if I click on the year button, so these entries will be switched to the 2012, 2013, and so on. That is the option you can have. This is 2013, this is 2012, and so on. If you want to change this to another option, suppose we want to add this option. Suppose we want to change this option to the extracting the month. Suppose the month is there and the month, start of month, end of month, days in a month, name of month. So these are the different options, and I click on the month, only the month will be retained and the next month number. 10th month number is 10, this is January, this is February, and this is December, and so on. So we can extract any of the date column in any of the specific format according to the need. Sometimes we have blank entries in a column, and blank entries is quite difficult to fill manually the blank entries to some other numbers. So in Microsoft Power BI, there is an option of fill up and fill down, which automatically fill all entries by their recent values available in the column. So that can be done with the Microsoft Power BI. So you have to click on the get data, Excel, and then connect to the car, make, and model matrix. So this is to be added into the existing query editor, and then we will have to use the fill up or the fill down options to complete that. At any point before leaving to the query editor, must remember either to close and apply, apply or close button. So if you don't want to save changes to your queries, to just click close. If you want to close and apply, then the first option to be used. Now click on the get data button and Excel, connect to the car sales, car make and model matrix.xls. This will be included in the current data to the and sheet one. Click the sheet one. You have the two options here. Either you can have transform data, so you will move to the query editor directly from here, or you can have to load the data. I am just clicking on the transform data button here. So I will switch to the Microsoft query editor. Now you can see that in the make column, these entries are blank, meaning that all of these marquee values are related to the Aston Martin. So if we assume that all of these entries are from the Aston Martin and all of these entries are from Bentley, so we can use the fill option. If these entries are from some other makes, so this option will not be a usable item or a valid item to complete that. So I have a perception that all of these entries are from Aston Martin, all of these entries are from Bentley, all of these entries are from Jaguar, and so on. So I have to use the fill option to complete that. Click on the transform button, and this is the fill option. You have to click the fill option, fill up and fill down. If I use fill up, then Bentley will be filled in all of these blank entries, and Jaguar will be filled in all of these three entries. But the option I want to use is a fill down option. So you can see that all of the entries will be filled with the last value for Aston Martin, and these all filled by the Bentley and so on. So this will be the helpful option if you have some data which is a blank and you want to copy the data from a specific place by fill up or fill down, you can use it. Extracting the part of a column. Suppose we want to extract some characters or some part of the column, and that can be used in the transform button of the query editor. And we have the different options. The length is specified, how many characters are to be extracted. The first 3 characters, first 5 characters, or last 10 characters are to be extracted. We can also extract the range of characters, or text before delimiter is one of the important options. Suppose we have address, and address is splitted with the suppose A59, this is the home address. Then we can extract by delimiter. The delimiter is what? This is delimiter. Suppose we want to extract these letter A, B, C, D, the category of house, then we can extract text before delimiter option. Text after delimiter option means if we want to extract the house number in a separate column and the category in another column, to extract text before delimiter and text after delimiter. These are the two options. We can also extract text between delimiters. Between delimiter means what? A59 North Nazimabad, and we want to extract between these two delimiters, these two hyphen, between these two hyphen. This can be done with the Microsoft Power BI query editor. Now click on the transform button to go to the query editor, and in this refresh. Now we have to go to the transform ribbon. In the transform ribbon, we have to click the extract option, and the extract option is this. Extract what? Extract length, return the length of the text in the selected column. And first characters means first 5 characters first. So if I click it, it will ask the number, how many characters you want to extract. So before clicking the extract character option, we should have to choose the make column, because we want to extract the characters from the make column. Or another thing is invoice number column. Another invoice number column is this is the invoice number column. We can see the invoice number column is quite complex entries we have here, but these are just code. So between that hyphens we have to extract between the, so we have a delimiters there, and hyphen as a delimiter is used in that column. Now invoice number option of extract. This is the extract option, and we want to extract before delimiter. Then type hyphen as a delimiter. So we can see that in the same column, the entries before the first delimiters are extracted and stored in that. We can also have a new column with the extraction process, but this column which I used here in the invoice number column, this option will be extracted in the same column. So I can revert that because this is important data. First I can duplicate the column and then I can add it. We can also apply some other options, like we want to extract the data text after delimiter, text between delimiters, and suppose text between delimiters. If I'm using the text between the starting delimiter is hyphen, as well as the ending delimiter is also a hyphen. So 2 hyphens are used because these delimiters are hyphens. Now other options you can see here. What the other options are in the advanced button, you can have from the start of the input, from the end of the input. So we have to start by searching the delimiters, or by the end of the delimiter we have to search. I start the number of delimiters to skip. So we can have the option that suppose first, second is to be skipped, and I need only this number 4523 to extract. So you can specify the number, you can specify from start delimiter toward the end of the input, from the delimiter, start delimiter towards the start of the input. The start delimiter to the start of the input is this option. So we have the several option here, and we can use that, but I want to extract only the entry F4 to C. This entry I want to extract. If I want to extract this entry F4 to C, this entry can be extracted by the help of this option. So click OK. So you can see the F4 to C, between the first 2 delimiters, the extraction process has been done. Now the next option in Query Editor is to add conditional columns. How conditional columns can be added into Query Editor. Adding the conditional column is an important option. In this, we want to add a new column based on the make column. The make column is the base column. The entries in the make column are Roll Rice, or we have another option of Bentley, and so on. The Roll Rice is a posh maker, and the next one, the Bentley, we want to use a word classy for the Bentley, and for all other entries, we want to choose option blank. So this is a condition. What condition is there? If make is equal to the roll rice, then the entry for the roll rice will be posh in the new column. And if the make column contains the value Bentley, means the maker is Bentley, then we want to add an entry classy into the new columns. And all the rest of the entries should be set to the bling. So this is to be implemented in Microsoft Power BI query editor. Now open the chapter 7 example1.pbix file and click on the query editor transform button to enter to the query editor and add column. So we have the option of add column ribbon and conditional column. This is the option, add conditional column. Conditional column. If I click on the add conditional column, the adding column dialog box will open. On what basis we want to adding this column, this new column, this is the dialog box. In this dialog box, we have to change the name of the column. The new column name is buyer type. This is the name of the column. Buyer type, you cannot choose spaces, or you cannot keep spaces within the new column name, as this is the requirement for the Power BI, that the column name should not have spaces among themselves. So I can use underscore in the name of the new column, or I can use without any space. I can use that. Now in the first field, the column name is the make column, and the value you can have to choose the operator equal to, because make equal to something, make does not equal to something, begins with some letter. So we have the different operators that we can apply here, and then the entry should be used here, and that is roll rice. Make sure that you are typing exactly the same content as you have in the make column. So you can see that the roles rise, the same entry I have here in the make column, and that same entry. So there the option of copy paste is a better option, because it's leading spaces, trailing spaces, that should also matter in this case. So what I want to place in the new column, that is posh. This is the posh or product maker. Then add clause. If we have another option, then add clause. The another column, another condition. Another condition is to be set. Make column is equal to, the second option is Bentley. And option 1 to click on place in the next new column is classy. And in the same way, you can add more clauses if you have other options. But lastly, we have an option else. Else, if all of these entries are not roll rice, not Bentley, so we have a bling option. So all the remaining entries will be filled by the bling option. So okay, click OK. In this way, a new column is added. You can see in the new column, the name of the column is the buyer type, and the remaining options are what? Posh, because The first one was the Rolls Royce. The second one is the Aston Martin. So I used only the two values. One was the Rolls Royce, and other was Bentley. The remaining Aston Martin will be replaced by a Bling, and the next few entries are from Posh and so on. Power BI always add the new column at the end. This will not, we cannot insert a new column within the existing data table. The new column always be added at the end of the table. Before leaving the query editor, we have to choose close and apply or close, what option I want to use to complete this query operation. I can use inserting the index column. In some table, we want to generate auto generated numbers to make that column as a key in any other column. So for this purpose, we can use the index column. Index column, there are the few options that we can use to the index column. Reapply the previous sort order. Suppose I want to sort the data and I want to, for a temporary basis, and I want to revert the sorting operation at a previous level. So before sorting the data, I should generate the index column. By generating the index column, the original order maintained. Then I can sort the data after a few time that index column. If I sort the data by index column, then the data will appear into the previous order. Another option that is the use of index column is to create a unique reference key. Unique reference key means what? Suppose I am going to create the transactions. So when a new transaction is made, a transaction ID should be generated. So this index column can be used for a transaction as a transaction ID. So these are just the integers that are automatically generated, and this can be used as a primary key for some reference. In the dimension table, this can be used as a surrogate key. Surrogate key is what? Suppose these are the transaction ID which are generated by the index column. Then these transaction IDs can be referred to by another table, which is a master table. So these index column, this index column can be used as a surrogate key for the another column. To create the index column into the same data set, click on the add column button and click the index column. Index column option is click on the add column button, and this is the option of index column. Index to be started from 0, index to be started from 1, or you can start by a custom number. So if you want to start by a custom number, then this will automatically be. Suppose I want to start by 2020, this is the year, and I want to generate these numbers by starting from 2020. So 2020, 2021, and in the same way, these numbers are to be generated. So I'm going to start by number 1. Another column will be added. You can see that these index keys are 1, 2, 3, and onward. And this is generated in the last field in the table. So before leaving the query editor, click home, close, and apply. So this will be reflected in the data set. Now you can see that we have index column here. We can rename this index column by some specific number, we can index it. But right now, this is appearing as a last column in our data set. Merging two tables. Suppose we have the two table in the sales data.xls. This sales data.xls is a part of chapter number 8, and this file is enclosed in chapter number 8 folder. So we want to merge the two tables. The two tables are what? This is the sales table and this is the client table. And we want to merge the data of sales table to the client table, but we want to merge the two tables on the basis of the client name, because the sum of the fields we have in the client address, client town, country, postcode, and these columns are not available in this table, which is the sales table. So I want to merge these two tables with the basis of client name. So the client name Aldo Motors and Aldo Motors we have here. So these columns will be merged along this table. So this option is to be implemented in my Microsoft Power BI. I am clicking on the sales data XLS file, and this option to be implemented there. Now get data from the Excel source in chapter number 8. So we have to switch to the chapter number 8 and chapter number 8. We have the sales data dot XLS. Open it. And it has the two table. I want to click on the sales query and in the transform button, because we have to apply some transformations. Now we have the sales query here, and we are right now in the query editor of the Microsoft Power BI button, Microsoft BI desktop. Now click on the merge queries. This is the merge query option. Click the merge query option. A dialog box will be open. And in the top, we have a sales table. And in the bottom, I should have to choose another table. So I choose only one table for that. At the time of opening the data set, I should have to choose the another table too. So just click the add data button. I am closing the query, this query here, and I want to switch to the add option, discard changes, because that operation was not completed. Now get data, Excel, and sales data. Two tables are to be added, sales table and the client table. In the sales table and the clients table, then click the load transform. We are in query editor. Both of the queries are represented on the left side. You can see the both queries are here. This is the client query, this is the sales query. So click the client query, because we want to merge the sales data to the client query. The first table will be the client query where the data to be merged. Now click on the merge query button again. Now you can see that the client name is the column. So click the client name column, because we want to join these two tables on the basis of the client name column. The second option, you have to choose the sales data and click the client name column This is the client name column, because we want to join these two tables with the help of the client name column. And further options are what you can see. The further option: join right order, join left order, outer or right order, full outer, inner. So these are the different joining options, keeping the first one as selected. Okay. Now the two tables are merged. Another field is added here. That field is representing the sale. And we can see that the sale is complete query we have, or a complete table we have. So in the client table, a new column is added, and that new column is added as a table, not as a field. So we have to click this expand button. If we click on this expand button, so we can see a list of the all fields from the sales table. So we have to click all those fields which we want to merge. If you want to merge all of these fields, then keep them selected. If you want to add the few of them, then choose only that and unselect the fields that you do not want to merge with the client table. So I want to add all of these fields to the client table, then click OK. The new columns will be added. What that new columns are, so you can see that new column names are represented with the invoice date, sales dot invoice date, sales dot make, sales dot country name, sales dot dealer, and so on. These are the new columns which are added to the client table. If I save this query, this complete table will be represented in the client table. So we can see that this will be apply changes, and this is the client table. In the client table, you can see all of the new fields are there. Sales dot registration, sales dot model, sales dot make. These are the different options that we have here in the client table. So all the data of the sales table is now merged with the client table. Aggregating the data during the merge operation. In one table, suppose we have many entries for invoices, and we want to add the sale price for all of the invoices. So we can do that with the help of merge operation. We have to open the invoice and invoice line.xls in chapter number 8 and open this file, this Excel file into the query editor. This contains the two tables. One table is invoice line table, and other table is the invoices table. And we want to join them with the inner option. Inner option is what? Only the matching rows. From the invoices table, that is to be joined with the invoice line table. Only those rows are which are matched into the both tables are to be joined. And the sum of the sale price will be calculated. So this is to be demonstrated in Microsoft Power BI desktop. Get data button. Click the get data button in Microsoft Power BI. And Excel source. In chapter number 8, we have invoice and invoice line table, invoice and invoice line table. This is the file that we have to choose. This contains the two tables. One is the invoice line table and other table is the invoices table. The invoice line table and invoices table, and then transform data into the query editor. To click transform button. Now we have the two queries. One query is the invoices query and other query is the invoice line query. So we have to first click on the invoices query. So we have to first choose the invoices query and click on the merge query button. This is the merge query button. In the merge query button, the invoices table will be represented first, and then we have to choose the invoice line table below. And choose the option of inner join. Inner join means only those rows in which both table have entries are to be joined. We should have to select the field at which we have to join. After selecting the field, this OK button will be enabled. So we have to join the first table by the invoice ID column. Invoice date, this is the invoice ID column, and invoice ID column from the second one is to be joined. Now this is enabled, and you can see it is in it. This button is in the yellow color. Click OK. Still we have option of invoice line table is included as a new column in the invoices table. So I am standing at the invoices table and invoice line table is joined here. Now click this expand button. In the expand button, we have to, all rows are to be included or some specific rows to be included. So if you have to include some specific rows, so you have to click that. If you have to add all of the column of the invoice line table to the invoices table, so you should select it all of that. I want to aggregate. So is still instead of expand, I have to click on the aggregate button. Only the only the numeric columns are displayed. What column I have to aggregate? I have to aggregate the sum of the sale price field. The sum of the sale price field, this is sum of the sale price field. Now, in the invoice line table, for the matching rows, the invoice sales price will be accumulated and aggregated, and to be included, the sum will be included here as a new column. So we can see that the number 595000 is what? This is the sum of all invoices, sale price, from the invoice line table, and it is joined here as a invoices. So in the invoices table, we have sum of all prices from the invoice line table. You can see the new column here. The column is sum of the invoices, invoice line, sale price. So the total accumulated value is represented here. The last option in this lecture, we are going to demonstrate how to unpivot data and how to pivot data. Pivoting options can be demonstrated with the help. Suppose I have a table in which we have different rows. Suppose I have 100 rows and there are the sale prices. Suppose this is the year 2010, 2011, 2013, and 2020. Suppose these are the different columns. In these columns, we have the sale prices here. I want to unpivot this data so that we have a column sale price, and another column we should have here as year. Now, we want to spread these entries, these 11 entries, 2010, 2011. These are the sale prices for customer number one. So we have to 2010, 11, 12, and so on, 20. And all of these sale prices should be represented here. And this is the client number one. So all of these entries relate to the client number one. So one, all over there we should have one. Then second client is started. We have to be here all of the sale prices from the client number two for these year number 10, 11, and so on. So this is the two-dimensional data, and we want to retransform it into the one-dimensional data. This is unpivoting, and pivoting the vice versa. If we have this and we want to reform it into this format. Yeah, so this is pivoting, this is unpivoting, and this is pivoting. These options are to be demonstrated in the next segment. For this demonstration, we have to open chapter number 8, pivoted data set, XLS sample file in Microsoft Power BI. In Microsoft Power BI, click the Get Data button, Excel source, and from chapter number 8, we have to click on the pivoted data set. This data set is already pivoted and we want to unpivot that. Click OK. It has the two table, pivoted cost and table number one. I am going to transform both of them. You can see the pivoted cost data. These are the different costs, and these are the company name, Aston Martin, Bentley, and so on. And these are the dates along which these invoice dates these companies made. So I want to make a column, that column dates remain same, but these entries are on the date January, 1 February 2013. So all of these entries will be retransformed into rows. All of these entries will be retransformed into rows, and this date will remain same for all of these entries because these entries are made on 1st February 2013. So this process is called unpivoting process. In the query editors, you have to select all column that you want to unpivot. We have to select all column except the first one. So I have to, uh, we have to unpivot all of these columns. So we should have to select all of these columns. And in the transform ribbon of the query editor, there is an option of pivot and pivot. This is unpivot columns. Click the unpivot button and see the changes. So immediately you can see all of the row number one entries are here at the date number 1st February 2013. So all of this is the row number one up to 1st February 2000 and this is up to now. These are the entries of the row number one. You can see 1st February 2013, 1st February 2013, and so on. 1st February 2000. So these entries were in column at row number 1, but now they becomes rows. So this process is known as the unpivoting data. The reverse process can also be done. So before going to implement the reverse process, I am going to close this query and apply. Now you can see that the pivot cost is appropriately unpivoted here. So I want to pivot this again. So what to do? You have to click on the home ribbon and transform data button to move to the query editor. Now we are in query editor, and mm, this is unpivoted data, and I want to pivot that. To unpivot this data, we have to click on the attribute column. In the transform ribbon, click the pivot data. This is the pivot column button, and you have to click the field at which you want to pivot this, the value column. Click OK. Now you can see that the data is reversed. Now at 1 February 2013, I have only one entries for all of these 6 or 7 companies. So this is the properly unpivoted. So we have all of these query options here. If we want to reverse any of the query operation, so I can do that with the help of these applied step option.